Today's video is all about prediction markets that use crypto payment rails. With the US election in less than 2 months, this has turned into one of the fastest growing crypto sectors and has even breached into mainstream news. In today's video, I'm going to talk about why that is and how you can take advantage of it. Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and before I get into the main video, remember that nothing I say in this video is financial advice. I'm not suggesting you invest in any particular cryptocurrencies or bet in any particular prediction markets. Do your own research. Now let's get into it. To start, what exactly are prediction markets? Basically, a prediction market is any sort of market that lets you bet on or trade the outcome of a future event. And that could be everything from whether someone says a certain word in a speech, to which movie will be #1 in a certain weekend, to who's going to win a political election. And they're most commonly used to bet on election outcomes. This is currently the leading prediction market, Polymarket, and you can see here, for example, that it has percentages for a wide variety of events. However, the most bet on markets are currently the United States elections. For example, there's nearly $1 billion bet on who will win the US presidential election in 2024. And what's interesting about this, especially in the context of this channel where I cover decentralized finance, is that currently the leading prediction market, Polymarket, uses crypto payment rails. When people bet on Polymarket, they are using stablecoins which run on the Polygon blockchain to make their bets. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how this sector has been growing a lot this year and why this is actually a very good fit for crypto and a good use case for cryptocurrency payment rails. First, let's look at the growth of the sector. Just by the numbers, if we look at the total amount deposited in prediction markets, since the start of 2023, crypto prediction markets deposits have grown from around $17 million to over $146 million today. This chart is from DeFi Llama. And if you look at the actual volume bet at its peak in July, $290 million was bet in a single week on crypto prediction markets. And in this most recent week that I'm making this video, around $183 million was bet. And if you just go back 1 year to September 2023, then around $2.5 million was being bet a week. And if you look at last September to this September, that's roughly a 70x in just a single year. And for people who are used to following the crypto sector, this sorts of boom and bust of applications is not unheard of. However, what is unheard of is the attention and reference that Polymarket has been receiving in mainstream news sources. And that's in large part because with the US election coming up, people are hungry for any sort of inkling of who is going to win. And you see a ton of articles like this one here referencing election betting markets and using Polymarket as a barometer. By the way, if you want to hear about these sorts of crypto narratives before they become big, be sure to check out my newsletter, dynamodefi.substack.com. I covered the growing usage of prediction markets on there all the way back in June. And so why are crypto-based prediction markets surging in usage recently? To understand that, you have to look at the main reasons why crypto is beneficial. The first is that it's difficult to censor. The second is that it's highly transparent. And to the first point about censorability, in recent years, prediction markets have been subject to a massive regulatory crackdown. Kalshi, another prediction market, has long fought the CFTC in court and recently, just a couple weeks ago, won a court case that allows them to list election contracts. And note that Kalshi is not a prediction market, but in the meantime, while they've had this drawn out court battle, Polymarket has been able to become the leading prediction market. Predictit, which was previously the top prediction market, has been repeatedly sued by the US government, particularly the CFTC, to shut down, and it's resulted in them imposing all sorts of limitations on their markets, on the amount that you can bet, and has really caused the platform to fall by the wayside compared to something like Polymarket. And to the point about transparency, having prediction markets on the blockchain makes it easier to spot which traders are moving which markets and ultimately identify market manipulation. And there's one other benefit of crypto-based prediction markets as well, and that is the fact that crypto is essentially programmable money. Like we've talked about on this channel, the growth of stable coins that are pegged to the US dollar or other national currencies, has been one of the breakout metrics of crypto usage in recent years. And you could look at crypto-based prediction markets as an extension of that growth. And with crypto's programmability and the proven demand for prediction markets, I think you're going to see a lot more of prediction markets in the years to come. People love to argue about news online and in person, and basically what prediction markets do is they allow people to put their money where their mouth is, and if they really think that the polls are wrong, if they think that the news is wrong, then they can bet on that and they stand to make money. If you want to learn more about prediction markets themselves, which markets are trending, as well as potential market opportunities, I have another newsletter called Prediction Pulse that's focused solely on prediction markets, link down in the description. Now let's talk about some ways that you can potentially take advantage of this trend. Before I get into that, first I want to note that there are several risks with any sort of speculation related to prediction markets. Although crypto is largely uncensorable, or at a minimum difficult to censor, this is still a regulatory gray area, and the CFTC has been eyeing Polymarket, as reported by Cointelegraph just a few days ago. Furthermore, all this usage that we've seen coming up to the US election is likely to mostly die off following the election. And I know a minute ago I just said that I think we're going to see more of prediction markets in the years to come, and I stand by that. However, I fully expect a massive correction in this usage for potentially years before it continues to grow in the years to come. How can you speculate on crypto prediction markets? First is, if Polymarket launches a token, then you could invest in that. And as reported earlier today, Polymarket is considering a token launch from the information. However, until that happens, and we don't know the tokenomics of it yet, or when it's going to be launched, if it'll even be launched before the election, there are several existing applications that do have tokens. One is Drift. Drift is a leading perpetuals DEX on the Solana network, and they also now have their own prediction market called Drift Bet. And you can see here, like Polymarket, they feature US presidential election markets. Something to be cautious about with Drift is that their token currently has a large percentage of its supply not yet in circulation, which can pose a major risk if you're planning to hold it for the long term. Another potential investment related to prediction markets is Azuro. What Azuro builds is essentially tooling and infrastructure for people to build prediction markets. You can see here that they have tooling, Oracle and liquidity solutions, contracts, and more that allow other people to build prediction markets on top of it. And Azuro has been around for a while. And in fact, if you go back several years, they were actually at one point doing more volume than Polymarket. And then the final potential crypto-based investment related to prediction markets is UMA. And UMA is not a prediction market, but what it is it's the Oracle that Polymarket uses to determine the outcomes of its markets. And so even though you can't invest in Polymarket, you could invest in a core piece of infrastructure that Polymarket is using. Personally, I'm holding out to see if Polymarket launches a token and where that lands once it's live. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.